All right, and we are live.
Okay, so I'm going to be kicking off introductions today. Yeah, I think what we can do, I mean, I think we all kind of know each other a little bit from one channel to another or from one orientation to another. But what we can do, since we all haven't been together as group 19, we can just kind of give the long and the short of ourselves and just introduce yourself, like where you are currently. And as I mentioned, I don't know if everyone saw it, but in the channel, I think it'd be fun if we shared also just one thing that we're really looking forward to in 2021 this year. And so I can start out, and I think what can be nice is what we did during the orientation is I'll just call on someone else after, and then they can kind of popcorn it to the next person. And so, hi everyone, I am Alex. I am a first-time mentor of the Collab Lab. I actually, it's kind of special because I am starting my first job as a software engineer tomorrow. So it's going to be, yeah, I spent the last, thank you. I spent the last year, exactly a year, making the transition from customer support to becoming a web developer, going the self-teaching route. And yeah, I'm really excited to be here. And I think one of the main things that I'm really looking forward to this year is just making that full transition into software engineering and growing in that way professionally. So with that, I will pass it off to Chiamaka.
Okay, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
of course, yeah.
All right, so good evening, everybody. I'm a participant and I did a training. Okay, I started learning this year around March, and I studied medical lab science in school. I didn't originally start, I didn't do computer science in school. I studied medical lab science, so I'm trying to switch. So I did a training, an academy for 6 months where we learned full stack. We're still learning though, we're in the back end now. So, and then I saw the advert and I applied for Collab Lab.
That's great.
Yeah, and I got in. That's my own story.
And you're not in Lagos, are you?
Yeah, I'm in Nigeria, but I'm not in Lagos. I'm in Abuja, the
Right.
country capital.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Who do you want to pass it off to?
Okay. Golfo. Did I get it?
Thank you. Yeah,
Hello.
you got it right. Hi. I'm Golfo. I'm also a first-time mentor for the Collab Lab. I've been working remotely as a front-end developer for almost 4 years now. For the coming year, I first of all wish to be healthier, work out more, and get healthier habits, and also evolve as a front-end developer. And but mostly I want to focus on my health first for this year. I have a traditional computer science background. I finished the computer science university, but then I also had to self-teach me to become a front-end developer. So I'm a blend of both. I have a traditional background and I'm self-taught. So with that, I'll pass over to. Sorry, I forgot to mention that I'm located in Greece.
Golfo, I missed who you passed it off to. You cut out just for a second.
Sorry, I forgot to mention it to Luca.
Oh.
Yeah, thank you. Hi all, my name is Luca, and I will be one of the mentors for our team. I am originally from country of Georgia, but I've been living in New York for past 10 years, and I recently decided to move back to Europe. So my plan is to actually live for a bit in Berlin, Germany, but right now I'm still in Georgia because of the pandemic situation. Yeah, this is my second time around mentoring here at the Collab Lab. And I was also a participant at TCL 8, like you all. So yeah, I'm very, very excited to be here. And also what I'm really looking forward into 2021 is that we finally go back to normal again. And I don't know, first of all, like everybody stays healthy, and then kind of go back to some live concerts and celebrate life again.
I feel that so much, Luca. Also, yes, Luca knows the ins and outs of Collab Lab like no other. So you're in such good hands over here with them.
I will pass it on to Julia.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're a little quiet, actually. Ah, that sounds better.
It's better?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay. Yeah, I'm from Austria, Vienna. And I had nothing to do with web development before 2020. I studied musicology and Japanese studies. But I really want to do web development now because it's the future of the whole world, I guess. And my goal would be in 2021 that I get a job in web development, and the best case scenario would be in Seoul or Fukuoka to move there to Japan or something. That would be great.
Nice.
That's all. And I want to pass to Joseph.
Hello,
Hey, Joseph.
can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to meet all of you. My name is Joseph Mawa. I come from Kampala, Uganda. For those of you who may not know, Uganda is in East Africa. I started my journey in web development after the lockdown. At school, I studied physics. I minored in education. So after graduation, I have been a high school teacher until the lockdown started in March. So that was when I took the decision to learn web development. I've been following FreeCodeCamp. Usually I hang out there with my friends in all the channels, mostly the FreeCodeCamp forum and in Discord. Basically, what I look forward to this year is for this pandemic to end so that we come back to our normal lives and probably start looking for web development jobs. I'll pass it to Stacy.
Thanks, Joseph. Hi, I'm Stacy. Gosh, what do I say? I work as a front-end engineer at Zapier. I was a participant like Luca in the first TCL, so where we were kind of just figuring it all out, and then have been helping Andrew build it since then. What do I look forward to in 2021? Oh my gosh, so many things. I'm so looking forward to this year. But I think that the main thing that I'm really like desperate for is I want to be able to take my kids to a shopping mall. Like I miss taking my kids into the world. They haven't been to like a restaurant or a Target or anything since like March probably. And it's like to the point where I'm like, do they even remember how to behave in those places? Or is it going to be like a whole new teaching experience where I have to like, remember when we go into these places, we don't scream and yell, but they're like caged chickens right now. And they just like, I want them to experience the world again. So looking forward to my children getting to be regular children again. I hope it happens. Okay. So let's see, who hasn't gone? Becky.
Hi, thanks, Stacey. So I'm Becky. I have a background in finance before I sort of transitioned into web development. I did a boot camp a couple of years ago now. It was about 2018. And since then, I had my daughter, so I've taken some time out. So I suppose I'm really looking forward to this year, getting back into things, working on some projects. Feels like a long time ago, but hopefully it all comes back very quickly. And I will pass to Andrew.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm Andrew. I think we've all met, but we founded Collab Lab, whatever, 16 months ago or something like that, 17 months. Time passes. And yeah, let's see, I'm in Portland, Oregon, on the west coast of the United States. We have an unusually nice day going on today, so I went for a little walk this morning. Something a couple things I'm looking forward to in 2020. Clearly, the vaccine, like getting the vaccine. The U.S. is like in such poor shape with respect to the whole pandemic thing, and so if we can manage to roll the vaccine out to people, which we're not actually doing very well either, not a big surprise considering how we've handled the whole thing. Maybe we can get this under control and life can get back to some semblance of normal. But I'm also looking forward to 17 days from now, January 20th, when we inaugurate a new president and we can move on from.
Yes, that's when the year starts.
That's right. That's when 2021 actually starts, on January 20th. So anyway, so yeah, a couple things to look forward to this year. In addition to all of you, spending the next 8 weeks with all of you. So looking forward to that too.
So many happy things. I loved all of these things. Anyone else? Is that it?
I think
that's everybody,
it.
right?
Yeah, I think that's it for introductions. I think we're ready to move on to the next the next segment.
Mm-hmm. Which I think is
is
me presenting on Git, I believe.
Oh,
right?
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, Stacy, do you want to mention your code of conduct responsibility?
Oh my gosh, that is actually a great idea. So thank you. I've not prepared for this. Here's me making it. So at Collab Lab, something that's very important to us is that all of our developers and mentors and everybody involved have a great sense of psychological safety. You feel like you're in a safe space where you can learn and fail and have people to support you. And so one thing that we have in place is that we have a code of conduct in place that everybody who is involved has agreed to at some point, whether it was during the application process or when they came on as a mentor. So we take our code of conduct very seriously. And we've had our code of conduct responders, most of them have professional training. I have professional training as a code of conduct responder. And so what that means for you is that I am somebody that you can always come to if you have any questions or comments or concerns about the program at large or how you're feeling, or if there's anything that makes you feel uncomfortable or that we could improve on to make you feel more comfortable and safe. Do please come to me. I'll be scheduling a one-on-one meeting with each of you in a couple weeks, just to check in, casual, to give you some space to talk about how you're feeling and how the program's going, and let me know if there's anything that needs to be said or heard. So I'm here for you. I hope that you all have an amazing experience, but do always feel like you're free to reach out to me anytime you need to, because I'm here for you. Anything to add to that, Andrew?
Just about covered it. I mean, we've never had a problem just because we're pretty careful about people that we let into the program. But if there's anything that makes you feel uncomfortable or something that even if you're just kind of curious, like, is this kind of an okay thing to kind of say in this situation, or those kinds of things, you can always go to Stacy, or anybody clearly, but Stacy's kind of had some training in this area and stuff, so you're in good hands.
It's all totally confidential too, so
yeah,
you're safe.
And there's the whole code of conduct is on our website, so you can go there and find it if you are kind of curious more in depth what it says. So. But you've all agreed to it by the fact that you're here, so you might want to be familiar with it. I mean, it boils down to just be a good person to other people. Yep. Cool. All right, let's talk about Git. Nice. Thanks, Alex. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen. Gonna share. Let's see. I'm gonna share my whole. No, I'm not gonna share my whole desktop. I'm just gonna share this window. But I'm good. So normally when I present stuff, I don't actually hit the little present button, but I'm gonna try it. So I want somebody to tell me if you can. You can see that, right?
Yep.
Yep, it's working.
That's
Looks
how,
beautiful.
that's how it works. Okay. That's good. All right. So cool. So we're gonna talk about Git. So who this? Git was created by Linus Torvalds as he was developing Linux, and as a way to provide source control for his work there. So he was frustrated with the available tools for good reason. But back in the day, I guess when he made Git, the best thing available was this thing called SVN, which had to have a central server, and there was only kind of one. Like it was really hard to, like, you could do branching and stuff, but it was, you know, it's pretty tough, and it kind of bogs down in big projects. Before that was even worse, where you had tools where you'd lock a file so that only one person could edit it at a time, and that was sort of how it made sure that there weren't conflicts and things. Git is a lot more flexible. It's branching is really easy and cheap, so it allows for better collaboration. It has a big API with a lot of commands and options. So that's both good because it's really powerful, but it also does make it kind of confusing. It is, you know, I've been using it a long time at this point, but there were a lot of times earlier in my career where I would just get into a state and I'd be like, I have no idea what's going on or how to get out of this. So, you know, if that happens to you, don't worry, we've all been there, and we can kind of work together to back out of any sticky situations. It's very configurable, so I'm gonna try to do a little demo later of some stuff sort of live, and you'll see. I'm gonna try not to use the shortcuts and things that I have set up, but you're probably gonna see a few of those because it's such muscle memory for me. But you'll see, like, there's a lot of ways to make it kind of fit your workflow and be more efficient. There are a bunch of services that host Git projects. So we're going to use GitHub, but there's also GitLab, which we actually, at Zapier, we use both GitHub and GitLab. We use GitHub for source control for kind of hosting the code, and we use GitLab for our sort of build and deploy pipelines. They have a really good story around that. And Bitbucket is another one. So and that's just a few. There are others as well. And I think that's probably because Git is sort of the de facto default tool that is used in software development these days. All right, so we're going to cover a lot, so I might go a little fast. Feel free to either throw questions in the chat or feel free to interrupt me. Honestly, I don't like it's. I'm not too precious about that kind of thing. So if I say something and you don't quite get it and you want to know, you know, if you want to make sure you understand it before we move on, just interrupt me, no problem. So I'm going to cover downloading the project, switching to a working copy. So I'm going to use some jargon here, some lingo, but we'll clarify it as we go. Staging changes, saving changes in the history, sending changes to GitHub, getting the latest changes, applying the latest changes to your branch, getting your changes into main. We'll explain what main is in a second, and then sort of oopsies. So, you know, if you have a conflict, how to back out of that kind of thing. All right, so how does Git work? So in Git, you have what's called a repository, or repo for short. So it's a collection of files under source control. Git being one of the tools you can use that. There's something called Mercurial, which is also a distributed one. So it could be, their command is HG. But anyway, any collection of files under source control is a repo, whether it's using Git or a different tool. So in Git, there's a concept of a remote. So the remote is the origin repo. So technically, Git is a distributed system. So you could set your remote to be anyone else who has the project installed. So for to kind of simplify things, GitHub acts as our remote, our origin server, so that we all have a common place where we're kind of merging. But back in the day when I mean, it still happens in the Linux world when they're developing the Linux kernel. They might set different, people might be working together on something, and they'll set a certain person's computer as the remote for a while, and then they might switch the remote to something else while they're working on a different project. Different branches might have different remotes. It's all very flexible, but like I said, to keep things simple, we use GitHub as our one remote, our one origin server. So branch, I mentioned the branching is hard in SVN and it's easy in Git, but what is a branch? So a branch is just a working copy of the repo. So the main branch, and the main is just a name for a branch. It's a branch like any other branch, is our source of truth, in the sense that that's where we're all going to merge our stuff. We're going to integrate all of our work into the main branch so it can be deployed out to production. But you'll be doing your actual work on branches, on other branches that you've created. So it's just a copy of the repo with a different name that is eventually going to be merged back into the main branch. So a commit is a set of changes to the repo. So what that means is, you check out a branch, you make some changes, and then you need to tell Git that the project is in a different state now. So what you do is you stage the changes, you commit the changes, and now there's a new entry in the history that reflects the changes that you just made. So there's also this concept of head. So head refers to the last commit. If you think of it like a tree, it's the furthest out thing. It's like the most recent
Hey, Andrew, sorry to interrupt you. I think I think your slides might not be changing. We just got a little message in the chat. It may be better to go back to the not presenting mode.
Okay.
We're still stuck on the first slide.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. Let's try this again. So do you see? No, let's see. Okay, I'm not sharing anymore. All right. So yeah. All right. Let me okay. I'll just share my window for now, but I kind of want to. I'm going to go into presentation. It's not going to work if it doesn't update. Oh well, I'll just explain it. So, thanks for that though. So here, I'm just going to go back just because you heard me say all these things, but you didn't see them. So these are all the things we're going to be covering, kind of for posterity for the video's sake. And then this is where we are. So talk about repo remote branch commit. Okay, and then pull request. So a pull request, it documents how and why the changes you made should be merged with the main branch. So that's a GitHub specific term, pull request. Other systems might use different terminology. So GitLab uses merge request instead of pull request. But the concept is the same, where you are taking a branch and kind of adding a detailed description to it. The system, GitHub actually has a way to check if there are conflicts and to run any kind of pre-commit hooks and those kinds of things, which all that means is like some software that sort of analyzes the state of the project before you do the merge. And it will also actually do the merge for you if it can. So I say if it can, because it is possible to have conflicts and then you have to resolve those manually. But so yeah, so I'm gonna try to live code an example of creating a pull request for you. I did it just before the meeting and it was fine, but of course, once you're presenting, everything goes haywire. So we'll see how it goes, but we'll give it a shot. Anyway, you'll be using PRs a lot in the project. And then a differential, so a diff. So that's just a view showing what's changed in the code. So if you've ever done a pull request before or seen one, you'll have lines that are red and lines that are green. So the red is where lines have been deleted from the file, and the green is where lines have been added. So this is a diff view. It's showing you, here's a file, here's what's been added, here's what's been deleted, here's what's changed. Super handy for understanding what was done in the last commit. Okay, so this is the part that I wanted to do sequentially, because this is actually, there's a build here that kind of helps you understand this, but I'll just try to explain it. So the yellowish orange sort of indeterminate light orange color there is that's the main line, the main branch. So there might be an initial commit, and then someone adds a commit to add a button. And at that point, two people, they need to work on some different things. And so one person creates a branch and they add some styles and they add some tests to their branch. In the meantime, the other person updates some text or something in the file. And now we have a project in two different states, and we need to bring it back together in order to deploy it out, right? So that's where we create a merge, and we create a new commit that's merging that branch back into main. So we're going to talk about a way to do this so that what you end up with is this. So now remember, there's the initial commit, the add button, update text, and then merge branch. And what we want to do, even though these two sort of greenish color commits happened before and after the update text, we want both of them to end up in this space between update text and merge branch. So that's just a way to kind of keep the history clean and avoid conflicts and stuff. So we're gonna talk about specifically how to do it that way. All right, does that all make sense? The branching and merging back in, like, is this a kind of thing you've seen before? Kind of that visual branching off and coming back in thing. All right. Okay, so let's get into some commands. So this is a subset of the commands you can run in Git, but the first thing is to git clone. And so I believe all of you have done this because you have all added yourselves to the contributors file, right? So in GitHub, they give you this nice shortcut of going over here to this little clipboard icon. You can copy that URL, git clone, paste the URL in, hit enter, and it'll pull the project down to your computer. So branching, so git checkout allows you to switch to an existing branch or to create a new one with the -B option, -B standing for branch. So if you want to just check out the cool feature branch, you git checkout cool feature. If you want to create a new branch called new feature, git checkout -B new feature. So like it says here, the remote project is not going to be affected by anything you do on your branch until you merge and push. So you can, create branches. If you had an idea and you just wanted to try something out really quick, you could make a new branch, basically try the thing out, and then throw the branch away if you wanted to. It's one of the really nice things about Git. All right, so staging changes. We used this term before. So staging changes just means, like, when you make a change to a file, it's going to be there, but it's not really ready to be committed. Git doesn't know. Let's see. You could make changes to a bunch of different files and only want to actually commit changes to one file. So you have to tell Git which of the files that you've made changes to are the ones that you want to actually commit to the branch. So the way you do that is you say git add, like add this file to be committed. And once you've done that, then you'll be able to commit. So you can start a stage, a single file if you want to. You can reference it by name. You can stage all files. So this -A, it's a capital A option, stages all files to be committed. What I typically do, I notice there are things in the chat. I don't have it open. All right. Okay. So what I have to often do is git add and a single dot, because that references the current directory and everything underneath it. So all the subdirectories of that directory. So that's my shortcut for it. Although I also have an alias set up, which is just git add, which does git add dot for me. Yep. So anyway, you stage the files, and then the next step is to commit them. So git commit is the command. You can do just git commit, and it will, whatever your default editor is that's set up, it will open that editor and you can start writing your commit message. On most systems, that's VI or Vim, which if you've seen, like I saw, I don't know, I might have posted it to the random channel or something, but there was somebody posted a tweet recently where they said, that every time they accidentally open Vim, they just get a new computer because they can't figure out how to get out of it, right? So, so anyway, it's maybe a little safer to do this -m flag, and that way you can just add a commit message right here in line. So git commit -m, and then whatever text you put in quotes will be your commit message. There is a caveat. I don't believe you can't use an exclamation point or a bang in those. I've tried to be enthusiastic about commits before, and it gets all confused thinking that I'm trying to do a bash command. Anyway, but yeah, you can do that, and you can do this. The last two steps are here in one step, where you do -am. That'll stage all the files that are in a changed state, and add the commit message too. So I actually have a shortcut set up for this, which is git CI, so I can kind of fly through. I'm not in the habit of just saying git commit, because I don't want it to open up some random editor that I haven't configured. So, all right. Any questions about any of that? All right, keep moving. So git push. This is how you take your commits and put them onto the remote server. So the first time that you push, what you're going to want to do is use this -u flag. Tell it that you want to push to origin, and then tell it what branch you want to push. So by doing that, it's telling Git that for this branch, it's going to use the origin as its remote, so that in the future you can then just git push and it'll know where you want to push. If you checked out a new branch and you just said git push, Git's going to be like, all right, fine. I mean, nothing's changed. I don't know where you want to put this, and it's the same as the local copy, so I'm not going to push it anywhere. But if you tell it, I want you to compare to origin, it's going to look at origin and be like, oh, there's no cool feature branch here, so I'm going to create that branch, and then I'm going to push those changes up. So the first time you do it, this -u origin and the branch name, those parameters kind of get you set up to do things easily in the future. So we're going to be creating a lot of branches. We're going to be pushing to branches multiple times and stuff. So just know you only have to do this part the first time you push for each branch. All right. Then we're going to get the latest changes. So while you're working on stuff, so one of the intentional things about Collab Lab is that we have two teams working on different branches at the same time, which means somebody's going to get to main. They're going to merge their stuff to main first, and then the other team is going to have to pull those down, integrate those into their branch, and then push their stuff, right? So the pulling stuff down part, you would switch back to the main branch and you get pulled. So this might seem a little simple, but main should always be in a state where you can just pull and do what's called a fast forward. So even if there are a bunch of changes on main, you should be able to get pull, no conflicts, and just fly up to the head of the branch. Let me see. So let's kind of look ahead. But like I said, we want to also be able to handle the case where there are changes that we need to pull into our branch before we push, right? So we'll get to that here in a second. But basically, just to get the latest on main, git checkout main, git pull. So what we want, so in this case, what we're trying to do, we have our branch, we've been working on our cool feature branch. We know there have been changes to main, so we want to make sure that our branch is up to date before we push, before we try to merge into main. So you get checkout main, you pull, so now main is up to date. Then you get checkout cool feature, so you're back on your branch, and then you get merge main. Okay, so what this is going to do is it's going to merge in, and I'll answer your question in a second. So it's going to merge in those changes from main into your branch with a new commit. So it's going to add to the history saying these changes have been merged into the branch. So Joseph, you're asking in the chat, what's the difference between fetch and pull? So fetch will update your local Git's understanding of the remote, but it doesn't pull the changes. Does that make sense? So if you pull, it's going to update its understanding and say, oh, there's a difference, and pull it down. But if you fetch, it's just going to know, like say somebody created a new branch on the origin server. You could git fetch to get your local Git understanding that there is a new branch, and then you could check out the branch. But it's not necessarily going to pull whatever changes are on the remote. I almost never use git fetch, just because I'd rather, if I'm hitting the server, or the origin server, it's because I want the changes basically. So, but if you're in a state where you're not sure if that's going to mess things up for you, you can always git fetch, and then now you're able to more inspect what's going on. All right, so I feel like there's something here that, let's see. Oh, so if there are two people working on the same branch, do we cover this? No, we don't cover this. All right, I'm going to go a little off script here. So, so you and your partner are going to be working on the same branch, and you might make some changes to the branch. They might make some changes to the branch. And if you both have changes that you have already committed to the branch, one person can push their changes up to the remote. And the other person can do git pull -- rebase. So by rebasing, we get this, we can get back, so let's see. The -- rebase flag, what that does is it rewinds your local branch to the state before you added the latest commits, the commits that you haven't pushed. It takes those other changes, applies them to your branch, and then it replays your changes at the top of the head of the branch. So that's nice because instead of a bunch of merge conflicts where you're not, like, you don't know whether it's that person's work or yours that you want to keep, you know that the branch is in a state that other people want it to be in, and now it's all just your work, and you can take your work one commit at a time and make sure it's what you want. It's in the state that you're working towards. So you might need to use that in certain cases if you and your partner are have both made changes, actual commits to the branch. So git pull -- rebase, super handy feature. Some people, let's see, there's a thing called you can force push, and it's something some people use a lot. And in my 22 years, I haven't used Git that whole time. In 10 or 12 years of using Git, I've used force push 2 or 3 times because I git pull rebase, -- rebase instead. So it's a good way to avoid kind of destroying history that way. All right, gets confusing. Anyway, so does that all make sense? So the basic, when you want to, basically, if you need to, this is called branch maintenance. That's one term for it. So if you need to do branch maintenance on your local branch, you check out main, you pull down the changes, you go back to your branch, you merge, and then that creates a new commit that that applies all of those changes to your local branch. All right. We did. Let's see. We did. So Golf asks, did we see how to make a new branch? So yeah, git checkout -b, and that's how you can make a new branch. All right. So pull requests. I haven't done this through VS Code before, but what I typically do is I do this little button, new pull request on GitHub. But apparently VS Code has a way for you to, I guess it'll prompt you, create a pull request.
Yeah, basically
on GitHub, I see.
Click that link and it'll just take you to exactly where Andrew's saying you should go.
Okay, right, okay, cool. So I will actually demo this in a second, so I won't spend a ton of time on this. But yeah, on GitHub is smart enough that if you push a new branch, it'll prompt you in the UI to create a pull request. So we'll do that in just a second. All right, so reverting. So sometimes you need to back out of a change. So either there's something's gone wrong, or maybe you accidentally committed an unresolved merge conflict or something like that. So so git commit, I regret nothing, and then you can look at the log. So we'll do a git log as well. this is a nice little feature that lets you just have these kind of one-line log entries. The normal one is more kind of expanded. And then you can just git revert. And all you need are enough characters to make it unique in your Git history. So, you know, if you only had a couple commits, you might need just a few characters. If it's a really extensive Git history, you might need as many as maybe 10 characters. But yeah, it just needs to be unique. So you can git revert, and this commit hash. So each time you commit, Git creates this hash that is unique for that entry. So the log is a bunch of hashes plus the commit messages, and each of these refers to the repo being in a certain particular state, right? So files with certain changes made to them. So this is pretty simple. And then you commit that, and I believe you have to commit the revert. You revert and then you have to commit. I'm not actually sure. I don't use revert very much, but anyway, that should put your branch back in the right state. If you're in a situation where you're needing to revert, and you're not sure about how to do it, I mean, you can give it a shot. You can't really hurt anything because it's all source control. But if you're nervous about it or something, you can ping your partner or one of the mentors, and we'll jump in and help as well. All right. So sometimes Git can't figure out how to resolve changes to the same file from two different branches. That's okay. Happens all the time. In fact, I will try to make that happen in just a second. So Git's going to need to know what changes should get saved in the file. So you'll have a merge conflict. Typically, you'll have a merge conflict when you merge main into your working branch. So you're working on a branch, everything's fine, and then somebody makes a change to main, and you try to pull that into your branch, and now you've tried to change the same lines in the same file, and Git doesn't know what to do with it. So that's when you get a conflict and you need to resolve it. So GitHub will actually analyze your PR against main and give you a warning message. It basically won't allow you to merge your PR if there are conflicts between the branch and the base. So yeah, let's see. So the way that you resolve conflict, so what happens is Git actually inserts this funny looking thing with the angle brackets and head and current change, and it'll actually have both changes in the file. So one is head and one is the incoming change, and you choose between those, save and commit, and then you're back in a working state. So there are tools that know how to read these angle brackets and everything. They kind of understand those things. You can visually resolve these conflicts, but you can also it's just a text file. So you can actually just do this by hand. So the chevron, I think isn't a chevron like the little up? I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, so we'll actually, hopefully I can get my branch into a conflict, and we can just resolve that the old-fashioned way, just a text file, delete some lines, and be back in a good state. So last slide is some resources. We'll post the slides for everybody to see. And let's see, I'm going to share a different way now. So I'm going to go back to sharing the advanced portion of my screen. And all right, because I want you to be able to see my terminal as well. Okay, so this is your repo, and I'm going to make a conflict in your repo. So I'm going to copy the URL here, the terminal. So I don't have it yet here on my local. So git clone, and I just paste that link in. Okay, cool. And then this is a little shortcut I have. So that's a shortcut for this LL. So we're gonna go into TCL 19, and this is me doing things the old-fashioned way. So here's Nano. So I don't know how to use VI, but I know how to use Nano. So I'm gonna add a new thing here. I'm gonna you'll notice I didn't actually make my branch yet, but I will make it in a second. Guest presenters, just because I want to be in your contributors file. Oops. Okay. Okay, so now, okay, that's me doing git status with my shortcut. And I can also do, I can do git diff here to show what's the differences. So the difference is that I've added 4 lines, guest presenters and my name. So I'm actually gonna, even though I've already made changes, now I'm gonna make my my branch. So I have that's checkout. So checkout dash B.
So if everything else that you saw in this Git presentation kind of was over your head or a little confusing, this is like the bread and butter of what to pay attention to, because this is what you'll be doing today.
Yep, for sure. So now if I do git branch, you'll see I'm on the branch I just created. So that was git checkout dash B and then my branch name. So I'm going to, oops, again, so I have a file that's changed. So I'm going to git add. I'm just going to do a dot to add everything. And now you see that the file's staged. It's gone from red to green. And I am going to commit it. So I have to, I'm going slower because I have to like think, not use my shortcuts. Let's see. All right, cool. So now I'm going to git push u origin, and I also have autocomplete stuff set up, which is, I would highly recommend you go out and find the autocomplete bash script, because my gosh, it makes things so much easier. So, all right, so I'm gonna push that up to the origin. And when I do, see, I didn't do anything, and GitHub says compare and pull request. So I'm gonna actually do that. So we recommend that you make draft PRs. So you can work on the draft PR during the week, and when you're ready for it to be reviewed, you convert it over to a real PR. So the way that you do that, you see in the interface, there's a whole template here which you will be filling out when you do your stuff. I won't take the time to do that. So you can create a regular pull request, but if you hit this little arrow, you get the option to create a draft pull request. So I'm going to choose that draft pull request, and you'll see that it's in this draft mode. It has this gray pill over here that says draft. So when you are ready to actually merge it, you can hit this button, ready for review. That'll put it in a mergeable state. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here and
10-minute time check, by the way.
Oh my, okay. All right, I'm gonna get on the branch and I'm going to make a change here. So I'm doing this here so that I don't have it on my local. And that's incorrect on purpose. So I'm gonna do that. All right, and then let me see if I remember how I got into my conflict. So I'm on my branch. I'm just going to git pull. So I'm not going to git pull -- rebase, which would actually not cause a conflict. I'm just going to pull. Darn it, I didn't do it. How did I do it before? I don't know. Let's see. Oh, right. All right. So I'm actually going to git revert. Let's git revert. So I'll git log, get that hash. Okay. So I'm ahead of this by a little bit. So I'm actually going to make a change locally. So you see my branch is still in the state where before I made the link. The link currently doesn't have any URL behind it. But but I'm kind of realizing, oh yeah, I actually need the full link. So okay, so now I'm going to commit that. Oops, it didn't add. Okay, so now I'm actually ahead of the remote by 2 commits, but I'm just going to git pull, not realizing that there are changes on the remote. Oh man, I knew this wasn't going to work. Oh well. For some reason, that worked earlier. I had a conflict and then I resolved it and stuff. I guess you'll have to experience that on your own if you've never had a merge conflict before.
Just knowing that there's a branch up remote that has some things, and you're gonna have a branch that has some things, and sometimes they won't match exactly, and you'll get conflicts.
Yep.
And we're totally here to help you through them.
All right. Anyway, so now I just pushed that up, so we can actually look and see. That looks like it's in the right state. So I don't actually need to be on the contributors. So unless you all want me to be, I could change my pull request to be ready for review. I'll leave it up to you all if you want to merge it or not.
We need you there, Andrew.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Luca. I'll add you as a reviewer. So I guess that's it. Are there any questions? I feel like that was a ton of information really fast. I'm sure all of you have used Git before, just to some degree, but like there's so much there that I'm sure there's sure to be things that are new to you through the course of this. But did that make sense? We'll give you the slides too, so you can all refer back to it. But
Yeah, it's a lot, but like high level recap, you create a branch, you do your work on it, you push it up, you and your partner can push and pull as much as you want on that separate branch. And in the end, you create a pull request, merge it into the
Yep. Cool. All right.
An article in your team channel about how to resolve those in case you need to go back to it.
I'm actually going to need to drop because I need to get ready for TCL 20's kickoff. But it's great to talk to you. Great to kind of get to know you all a little bit better. Hopefully, Luca, I don't kick you out when I start up my other Zoom call with the same account. But
we'll check how fast to this next part.
Yeah. We will be fast about this. I will start sharing right now. So we will just review the coming issues for our first week, and then we can assign pairs to those user stories. So our very first issue is about connecting our React application to Firestore database. And for that, so as a component, I want to be able to read from and write to the Firestore database so that users can persist information. So the acceptance criteria for this issue are that the project needs to have dependencies of Firebase as well as React Firebase hooks. Also, another acceptance criteria is to make a change in the Firestore database and it shows up in the application. And finally, make a change in the app and it shows up in the Firestore database. So basically communicating our data between React application and React Firestore database. Okay, and our issue number 2 is about creating a very simple navigation for our application. So as a user, I want to be able to navigate between the list view and the add an item view so that the interface is clearly delineated between viewing and adding. For this acceptance criteria is to create React router DOM or add React router DOM as a dependency to our application. Also, links are present and persistent at the bottom of the app. One of the list view and another navigation button is add an item view. When one of the links is clicked, the browser URL to represent the current view and a matching view component is displayed in the URL. And finally, whichever view is selected, the corresponding link should display in the bold text. One thing to note here is that those navigations needs to be those navigation buttons needs to be very simple. We cannot worry about the CSS right now because by the end of the 8 weeks, the last 2 or 3 weeks is all about actually designing the application well. So for the first and second issue, just use very simple, for the navigations, just simple navigations to switch back and forth. And for the Firebase and persisting the data, you can just test with having a button that adds to the database and also creating a div that will list those information on the React app. Not creating the form, but just maybe having a simple button and having the div that will list those items on the page. And now you can actually choose which one you want to do. I think for the first week we have Becky and Chiamaka and Joseph and Julia as a pair. So any preferences, which one you want to take?
If not, we'll just assign them randomly. But like one of them is dealing with the database and the other one's dealing with routing.
Okay, let's take the database, Joseph. Is it okay?
Julia? Yep. So the first issue will be then Joseph and Julia.
And one thing that like is super important that Luca said is like do only what you need to do to meet those acceptance criteria, because if you start being like on this database one, for example, it's easy to be like, oh, I should like create a form and submit some data like to the database. But it's like you start getting into like future issues and you don't want to do work that's upcoming. So keep it very simple. Like Luca said, just a button, just something very simple that shows the database is connected and updated. Keep it super simple, just meet the acceptance criteria, and you'll be good to go.
And I don't know if this was discussed with the developers as well, but I love the idea that I think you shared it, Stacy, but we're gonna have a thread dedicated to each pair within TCL 19, and all of your communication in the pair can go there. This will be, we can explain it better in the channel, but I think that'll be easier too, to keep all the communication really organized.
Yep. And also just, I think, yeah, I wanted to show one thing very quickly. So as you progress through the issues, you can go to the project board in the repository and just move the issues between the stages. So right now we are in progress. We are starting to work on these issues. So as you progress into peer review, you can move your cards into different stages. And yeah, I guess that's about it. And of course, feel free to ping us in Slack, ask any questions you have. And yeah, we are totally here to help. And yeah, don't hesitate to post questions.
Amazing, I love it. Okay. So just to be clear, do you want to stop sharing your screen for a sec? I want to be able to see all your beautiful faces.
Okay. Here we go.
Okay, so the very next thing that's going to happen is that you are going to communicate with your partner and schedule a few different times to pair in the beginning of the week so that you can work through these issues. So you'll find all the details where Luca showed you. You'll say like, hey, Joseph, let's meet up on Monday night at this time. And you'll just get on a Zoom call like this or Google Hangout and work through those issues together on your branch that you create. And so that hopefully by Wednesday or Thursday, you'll have a pull request ready for your partners to review. So when your pull request is ready, make sure you tag the other pair in Slack and say, hey, come look at our code and review it. And then it'll go off to the mentors once they approve it. And I'll write down a recap of this in your channel so you can see it visually. But one kind of like source of friction in this first week sometimes is creating those branches and making sure you can each pull them up and down. So I'm happy to stick around if any of the other mentors need to go so that we can make sure we all get our branches created. You all have like an extra 10 minutes or so?
Absolutely, I can stick around.
Sure. Okay, well then in that case, does anybody have the project pulled down on their computer and like ready to go, like your terminal up, ready to create branches?
Yeah, I do, I think.
Okay, cool. Do you want to share your screen with us and we'll walk through how you'll create your branch? And then one person from the other pair. So let's see. So either Joseph or Julia, if you kind of, just one of you want to follow along with what Becky's doing, and then we'll go through the other person's step too. So does one of you want to create the branch right now too for your team?
I'm not able with my computer right now to do it. Sorry.
Okay. Joseph, can you do it or not? If you can't do it right now either, that's fine.
So I beg your pardon, please.
Do you have the project available right now to work on? If not, it's okay.
My project.
No worries. I'll send instructions in Slack so that Joseph and Julia, you can do this afterwards, but you'll be doing this process too. Okay. So, Becky, you're in the project right now. It looks like yes. So you're going to do git, checkout, -b, and then your initials and let's see, what am I going to find? What are
It's issue number 2.
but what are your markup or
the initials?
C, CU. Okay, so -CU dash you're doing the routing, right? Okay, so React router or something, just something really basic that covers it. Okay, enter. So now they have their branch created, and it's ready to go, but you need to push it up. So you'll do git push -u origin, and then space, and then capital HED or HEAD, capital head, and hit enter. And then you can set it up too so that you don't have to do that every time. But okay, so this has pushed the branch that she just created up to GitHub. Can you pop over to GitHub now, Becky, and just see if it's showing that in our UI? I think we might just be able to see. Okay, cool. Oh, you're on mute too, by the way, just trying to say anything. You don't have to unmute. Just let me know in case you were saying something. Oh, amazing. Okay, so I'm on GitHub and I can definitely see it up there. So if you don't want to pull it up, you don't have to. But now, let's see. Okay, so now, Chiamaka, do you have your project up right now too?
Yes, I do.
Okay, cool. Would you be able to screen share?
I'm supposed to pull from the one she just pushed, right?
Yeah, exactly. So what you'll do on your end to get hers is git pull.
Okay, then the branch name.
You should just be able to do git pull and then
Everything will come in.
Yeah,
Okay.
everything should come in. What is the git branch list? I think just git branch and it should list it to make sure that you got it. Okay, so Becky, on your view that you're showing us right now, if you click code, like the code tab right there, in where it says main on that drop down at the top, if you click that, so you can see your branch got pushed up there successfully. Amazing work, great job. Okay, Chiamaka, do you want to share your screen with us too? Are you able to do that? It's okay if not.
Okay, it's coming up. Okay.
So Julia and Joseph, you'll do the same thing too. One of you will create the branch and the other one will pull it down. And you can just coordinate in Slack, or you can do it on one of your pair programming sessions. No worries if you can't. Okay, cool.
Wait, okay. I'm confused. Mine is supposed to be showing TLC 19.
Yeah, okay, you might have pulled down just the wrong one. Fine. You'll just want to go through the git clone process for the other one. Do you maybe have both of them?
Because I was able to push to the repo to commit my name.
You might have
Maybe
both.
it's somewhere inside. Okay, I'll check later and I'll do it later.
Okay, no worries. So all you'll have to do is like clone that project and then you'll be able to git check out and then that branch name and be on the branch that you're going to pair program on. Perfect. Okay, so I will write a quick recap in your team channel about kind of your next steps and how to do that git process. But just know that the very next thing you need to do is coordinate with your partner about when you're going to pair this week to work through the project. And I encourage you to like, don't do too much on your own before that meeting. Try and really just walk through it all together. So when you're pair programming, it's okay if you're not like saying anything or doing anything, if you're like researching together and just chatting, but you just want to work together to solve the problem. Make sense? Any questions? Everybody feeling okay about it?
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. All right, great. Well, in that case, and we will see you in Slack. And good luck pairing. Please let us know if you have any questions. Okay.
Awesome.
All right.
Good luck,
Thank
everyone.
you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
We'll see you in Slack.
Bye.
Bye.
Something is not right.